What's up, my fellow Toku nerds and fellow Skylander nerds? My name's Jacob Haugen, and today I'm going to be going over what if Kamen Rider had Skylander elements and battle class. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry, I'll cover what I can. So, there are 10 elements in Skylanders, and there are 10 different battle classes. You guys can look them up in your own time, but what I'm going to be doing is through Kuuga to Zets, hopefully by next year, I should be on track on everything. I'm going to probably do these type of videos every once a month. And if you guys would like me to cover a specific Kamen Rider between Kuuga and Zets, please let me know. I would love to do a video of each one, giving my thoughts on what elements and battle class they should be. And also, what inspired this video? There's a YouTuber called Faust Plays, which did what if Kamen Rider had Pokemon typings. Now, this is kind of a similar video to that, kind of. The only real difference is instead of Pokemon types, I'm doing Skylanders, elements, and battle class. Just to feel a little bit more unique. So, without further ado, let's get started with Kamen Rider Kuuga. Alright, so to start off, we got to talk about Kamen Rider Kuuga growing form. Now, this one was kind of tricky to narrow down. I knew the battle class right away, brawl class, but what was going to be the element? Because growing form doesn't really have 8 elements to go with. And the color doesn't really help either. It's just white. It's basic as you get, to be honest. So, what was I going to do? So, I decided to lean into the name, growing. So, with that being said, the element and battle class, life, brawler. The life element is supposed to reference the name itself. Well, growing. Life is all about growing, so take that as you will. So now we get to do the base form, mighty form. So this one, super easy to do. It's a fire roar type, kind of like Frino from Skylanders. So what led me to this decision? Well, attacks are very fire-based. May I say more? And also, martial arts. Very hand-to-hand combat. What else was I supposed to do with this form? Alright, the next form is dragon form. This one was a little trickier. So, I decided to go with Water Sentinel. Sentinel? Well, he's a bow staff. May I say more? And the element, water, I decided because, well, each form does help me out a little bit because it is colored based. So, dragon form is a blue form, which helps lean towards the water element. But also, I think it's more agile, more speedy, and all that. Even though there are Skylanders that can fit this qualification a lot more, I decided to stick with Water Sentinel. You guys let me know what you think. Now, Pegasus form. This one was tricky. Now, I did try to use AI to help me out on making these decisions. Even though I know a lot about Skylanders and a lot about Kamen Rider, it's still kind of like, okay, what should I do with this form? Pegasus form is one of those forms. Because its main ability is more heightened senses, improved sight and hearing. So that's a little tricky. Also, the weapon is a bowgun, which can classify as both bow slinger and quick shot. So, what was I going to do? I decided to do life, bow slinger. Because one, it's a bow gun, which leans more to a bow slinger type, in a sense. Pun not intended. But I decided to give it the life element because, yes, there's a lot of Skylanders that uses the ability of sensing. Life feels more organic or natural when it comes down to Pegasus form. So that's what I decided to do. Time form. This one was also tricky because, well, one, it does help that it has a color, but it doesn't really scream one way or another. But here's what I decided to do. Magic, Knight. Magic because when I think of Titan, I think of more mystical, and this suit does give me that. So that's why I went with. The Knight, it uses a giant sword. What else was I supposed to do? You tell me. But truthfully, Magic Knight just makes sense. So, the next ones are the rising forms of Mighty, Dragon, Pegasus, and Titan. Now, I'm not gonna lie, these ones are pretty much the exact same ones as the forms I've already covered. So, the only real difference, enhanced powers and golden accents. There's not really much to it, I'm not gonna lie. So, pretty much put everything I said about these forms right here. About the rising forms. Now, amazing mighty form. Now, this one is kind of the same as rising mighty. The only real difference is the color change. So, and it is a mid-season power-up, so it does improve a lot. So, this one, I decided to do something a little out of the ballpark. But here's my reasoning. There are Skylanders out there that have a legendary variant. If you guys don't know, legendary variants are in-game versions of that Skylander. So, and they don't really improve much other than just the color variation. But it's still worth mentioning because it does feel like they're special in that sense. So what I decided to do for Amazing Mighty is Fire Brawler Legendary Boost. Legendary boosts are going to be for specific forms that I feel like deserve like a legendary treatment. Amazing Mighty kind of gives off that vibe already. So, you guys let me know what you think about that. Now we move on to the final form, which is Ultimate Kuuga. This one was tricky because it's an ultimate form. I couldn't just do the exact same thing. Well, I mean, I could, but it doesn't feel like if I did the exact same thing as Amazing Kuuga, it wouldn't feel as special. But there is one Skylander that has a specific element to this one, which I feel like fits this form so well. Because Ultimate Kuuga, it is a dangerous form. And it's pretty much the pinnacle of Kuuga's power. So I decided to give it the one and only Chaos element. Which, if you guys don't know, Chaos is a very unique Skylander figure because he's the only one that has the element. No other Skylander has it. Any Chaos variants, Chaos traps, trophy, anything, it fits in the one and only Chaos element. Which I feel like Ultimate Kuuga works. Battle class is gonna be Brawler because hand-to-hand combat. If you have not seen the final episode, what are you doing? So, that's what I decided to do for Ultimate Kuuga. Chaos Brawler. Now, I decided to throw in this form because it is a Kuuga form. Not the same Yusuke Godai form, but it is a Kuuga form nonetheless. Rising Ultimate Kuuga. Now, this appeared in Kamen Rider Agito, which I'll cover him in its own time. You just be patient. But what I decided to do for Rising Ultimate Kuuga is pretty much the same thing, but since this is a much improved form of Ultimate Kuuga, I decided to give it another specific thing, which is given by a handful of Skylanders. Spiral, Eruptor, Stealth Elf, Gilgrunt. If you guys know, you know. But it is called the Elites. Elite Skylanders give an extra buff when you play them as in the game. So I decided to give Rising Ultimate Kuuga Chaos Brawler Elite Boost. I just feel like that makes sense, and I feel like my justification works good enough. So, you guys let me know what you guys think about these elements in Battle Class for Kuuga. If you like what I do, please subscribe, leave a like, and share your thoughts on what would you guys do if you were in my shoes of placing each Kuuga form in a Skylander element in Battle Class. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care.